everyone, it's Michael here at Quarantine Cuisine. Welcome back for episode number 8. It's Friday, so we're looking forward to a weekend. Well, every day's pretty much been a weekend now that we're in isolation for 14 days. But tonight we're just going to keep it really casual. So we're going to do homemade pizza, which is just fabulous. We've got a couple recipes we want to share. We'll make two nice 15-inch pizzas. But we're going to start from scratch. So this is a two-step process. We're getting started a little bit earlier in the day because we're going to make our dough from scratch. So we're going to show you how to do that. And then we'll come back later in the afternoon when we're ready to bake up the pizzas and show you some toppings and preparation that we enjoy. So anyways, that's it for today. We're going to keep it casual. So let's start cooking. Okay, so we're going to make our pizza dough from scratch here. So I'm going to first start with some pizza flour. I tend to use, it's called Martelli's. It's an Italian 00 farina flour. So we're going to use this. This one's made for pizza. So this is the flour that we're going to use. So I've already measured out 4 cups of flour. So I'm going to pour that into our mixing bowl. We're going to use a stand mixer for the pizza dough with a dough hook inside. I just find it gets everything mixed up a lot better. So 4 cups of flour are in. Okay, excellent. And to that, I'm going to add the dry ingredients. So I'm going to just mix in our yeast. I have 2 1/4 teaspoons, which amounts pretty much to 1 packet of fast rising yeast. I'm going to mix that in with the dry ingredients here as well. Okay, we are under lockdown, so we have an alert system that's on our cellular network here. So it's a reminder for everybody to self-quarantine for 14 days. We're in day 8 right now, but I guess the government's getting quite serious about people congregating now, so they are putting special alerts out now. So that's 2 1/4 teaspoons of dry quick rise yeast I put to the flour, 4 cups of flour measured out. Now I have 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. I'm going to add in here as well. And then 1 teaspoon of sugar. That's going to go in here as well. So all the dry ingredients are in the stand mixer. And as I said earlier, I've got the dough hook inside here. So I'm going to now mix in our liquid ingredients. So liquid ingredients are really just 2. It's water. And the temperature of the water is really important when you're making dough, especially with a yeast dough, because the yeast has to rise. And in the mixer here, I'm going to put 2 1/2 cups. It's 110 degrees Fahrenheit, so we've already pre-warmed the water up. I'm going to add this to our mixture here. Once I get a little bit going here, I'm just going to get the dough hook going on just a very low speed. You'll start mixing around here. Keep adding a little bit of water at a time. A little more water. I've got a little bit of water reserved here as well because I'm really not sure whether there's going to be too much water or not enough water. So I've got a little bit mixed up here, both some water and some flour in case it's too sticky or it's too dry. And to this I'm going to add now 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Add that to our mix as well. So I'm going to stop this just for a second to make sure that I can get all the dry ingredients scraped off the sides of the bowl here. Get the dough hook going again. And what you'll see is the mixture will come together very nicely. It'll kind of form into a ball. Again, I'm just going to make sure I got all the dry ingredients off the bottom of the bowl as well. Make sure they all mix in here nice. Get the dough hook going again. Seems I need a little bit of water inside here, just kind of a little bit, because there are some pieces on the bottom that are not really coming together. And now that I've got all that mopped up, I'm going to add a little more flour in. just to get the texture right. So I think we're in pretty good shape there. And now I'm just going to return this onto a pastry board and show you what the next step is from there. Okay, great. So we mixed up the basics of our dough here with the stand mixer. Now I'm going to take the ball of dough. I'm just going to put it on the pastry board here that's nice and floured. The dough is a little bit sticky. I'm going to knead it, but I'm going to keep adding a little bit of flour to it just to get rid of the stickiness a bit. But we don't want it too dry. So just basically push your palms into it, roll it over, push your palms into it. A little more flour on the board here, push your palms into it. And that's essentially the way to be able to get the dough better mixed now as well. Give her a nice knead here for a few minutes. Keep adding a little bit of flour at a time. Not overly complicated to make dough at home. It takes a little bit of time. We're going to have to let this rise for a few hours. That's probably the most time-consuming part. The stand mixer surely makes it easier than mixing by hand. So it's one nice convenience. Okay, I think we're looking pretty good here. So essentially all I'm going to do now is I've got some olive oil on standby here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil all the way around this particular ball of dough. Make sure it's coated very nicely. That looks great. I'm going to return this to the mixing bowl here, just on the bottom. I'm going to wrap that tight with plastic wrap. We're going to find a nice warm place for this. If you have an oven that's already on, you can put it on top of the oven just where it's nice and warm. I'm going to go old school like my grandmother used to do. I'm actually going to find a really nice sunny spot next to a window. We got the sun coming in the house today, so I'm going to wrap it with plastic wrap. That provides a nice warm area for the dough to rise, and we'll have to let it rise for a couple of hours. And then we'll be back for the pizza preparation. Okay, the prep for our first pizza tonight is more of what I'll call a traditional Italian pizza. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to layer some tomato sauce on top of the dough. This is homemade, actually with our good friends Frank and Helen. We did a batch of this and we preserve it. So we use this not only for our pizza, this tomato sauce, there's nothing in it, just a little bit of salt we added before we closed the lid. And then we use this in our pastas, dishes as well. So it's a very versatile sauce. We're going to layer some sauce that I prepared actually just a little bit in advance by adding just a few spices to it. So we're going to layer that down first. Then we're going to, next up for homemade is our salami. So we make this salami every year. It's salt cured, all natural ingredients, got a bit of a spice to it. We're going to slice this up nice and thin so it gets not too chewy, but gets a nice crisp on top of the pizza when we broil it at the very end. Then of course we're going to add some mushrooms, just some white button mushrooms that we have. So we're going to slice these up thin as well, put them on top of the pizza. And then also what I did is I roasted up some red peppers. So these are just red bell peppers with some olive oil. I roasted these up at around 400 degrees, covered in the oven for about 20 minutes. We're going to throw that on as well. And then the final big ingredient here in the pizza is going to be some black olives. So just some very simple diced or sliced rather black olives that have been pitted. Then once that comes out of the oven, just to add a little bit of freshness, I'm going to put some basil on top. So we're going to slice some basil up. So I'm going to begin a little bit of prep here. So first of all, I'm going to start with the mushrooms. So essentially just take a mushroom on its side. I'm going to slice them up nice here. I'm not sure how many we need. Enough. It's a 15-inch pizza, so I want to make sure we have enough mushroom to be able to go around the pizza. Okay, so I think the mushroom, that should just about do it for the mushroom for the pizza. I think we're gonna have enough here. And of course, I forgot one ingredient that's very important in a traditional Italian style pizza, and that's our mozzarella cheese. So the mozzarella cheese we have pre-shredded here, so it's all ready to go. The question is though, the million-dollar question, do you put the cheese on before the toppings, or you put the toppings on first and layer it with cheese? I gotta tell you, my preference in a pizza like this is get the ingredients on there and then smother it full of cheese, let that bake on, crisp up, and I think it's a good way to prepare it. But guess what? The world's probably split 50-50 on this. Okay, so that's the last ingredient going in. So let me just get rid of our mushrooms here, put them back in the bowl. And the final fresh ingredient that we have to prepare, vegetable anyways, is our basil. So I'm just gonna grab some basil here. Some leaves, and a good way of doing this, actually, a little trick I learned is grab the leaves, roll them into each other, because otherwise it becomes a little bit difficult. Just pull the leaves off of the stem, roll them into each other like this, and just roll it up like this. I'm not very good at rolling things, if you get my drift, but anyway, so we're just gonna slice that up nice here. I just want some pieces. We're gonna just sprinkle it on top of the pizza, add a little bit of freshness with all the heavier ingredients that we have here. Okay, so the fresh ingredients are prepped. Okay, there's nothing better than homemade salami or sopressata topping a pizza. So I'm just gonna slice this very, very thin slices here. I do have a proper meat slicer, but just for purposes of this, I'm just gonna take my time here, slice up some pieces. This is a tradition I've been carrying on for about 25 years. It started with my grandfather, who brought this from Italy with him, this tradition. And I've carried this on. I've got a buddy, Ray, who I think we've been making sausage for the better part of 20 plus years together, and every year we get together. It becomes a really nice, fun day. We get together, we mix our salami, we try not to open the first bottle of wine too early, and then Dorothy's kind enough, at the end of the day, once all our work is done, the place is cleaned up, to make a good helping of pasta with some meatballs and a salad, and we have some cold cuts for lunch, of course, to enjoy our salami, and some other delectables with some cheeses and some buns. It's really a fun day that we look forward to every year. So I just gotta slice this salami again, nice and thin. The salami is kind of, it's pork, it's salt cured, so the ingredients in here are salt, crushed red chili peppers, there's paprika, we put some red pepper paste inside as well, we put some cracked peppercorns in here, I think that's pretty much the ingredients that we put inside this. We stuff it in a casing. This sits in a cold cellar, somewhat humidity controlled, for the better part of about 12 weeks to 15 weeks. And then we cut them in, each of the pieces in half, we vacuum pack them, put them in the freezer, and when you take it out and you enjoy it either as a bit of a delicacy on a charcuterie board, or as we're gonna do tonight, we're gonna put it in our pizza. So I think we have enough salami right there. So the salami's all prepared, ready to go on the pizza. Now it's time to prep for our second pizza, and this one's going to be more of a vegetarian style with a different sauce base. So rather than putting a tomato sauce layering down, we're going to actually start just with some good quality olive oil here. So we're just going to brush that on the crust of the pizza, and then on top of that we're going to have some sliced tomato. So we'll put some sliced tomato on there as well. As some sliced onion. I'd normally want to use a yellow onion for this because it'd be a little bit sweeter, but we don't have yellow onions, so we're going to just deal with a white onion here. Slice that nice and thin as well. And then I'm going to sprinkle some oregano on top, so some nice spice of oregano around there as well. I think, we're probably going to throw some more mushrooms on this one as well. Not as many as the original pizza, but this adds a nice complement as well. And possibly some black olives. We'll just see how all our ingredients go as well. And then once it comes out of the oven, we're just going to top the pizza with some arugula, provide some crunch and some freshness to the pizza as well. Okay, so let's begin our prep. So first thing I'm going to prep is a tomato. So just a really nice slice is what we want on the tomato. We don't want them too chunky like beef steaks on there, but we just want to have a thin layer here that's going to go on top of these tomatoes. These are beautiful vine-ripened tomatoes. We're very fortunate to get them year-round here, but it's just a really good tomato to use. It's got enough flavor on it. It's got some texture to it that kind of holds it together. They're not too, they're not very, they don't fall apart on you as well. So anyways, I think they're good there. Okay, so that's our tomato. Our tomato's all prepped. Next I'm going to slice off some onions. So again, just very thin slices what we want on the onions. We're not anything too thick here. You know, it's a topping for a pizza, so we're looking to kind of intersperse the flavors that we're looking for right around the pizza. So I think we're all set there. So this is the final prep we really need to do. The arugula's already been washed and cut, so I think we're in good shape. Okay, prep is done for the second pizza. Hey everyone, welcome back. Okay, now that our dough has been sitting rising, it's actually about double in size. Not sure if you can see that there, but it's about doubled in size. It's sitting in a nice warm spot with some plastic wrap and a towel over top of it. So now we're ready to roll out our dough. We're going to make our two pizzas tonight. One's going to be more of a traditional kind of meat-based pizza with some interesting twists on top of it as well, and the other one's going to be a vegetarian pizza. So it's time to roll the dough. Okay, so I've separated the dough into two equal pieces. I'm going to work each individual piece on its own because we have two pizzas. So all I do is put some flour on the pastry board, and then I just put the dough down. I'm pressing firmly to be able to flatten it out a little bit, making sure I maintain the shape, so rotating it constantly in a circular manner. I keep adding dough in just to make sure nothing sticks to the pizza board. So I'm going to work it until it gets to a point now when it's getting some shape and getting thin, and I'll be able to now start getting the rolling pin out, and this is where the work begins to be able to get it as even and as thin as we want and to the size to cover our 15-inch pan. Okay, so there's the workout for the day, I can tell you that. I probably burned about 500 calories there just rolling out the dough. The gluten in the dough tends to be very elastic, so it takes a little bit of workout to get everything in shape, but I gotta tell you, this one rolled out really, really nice. We should be good to put this in the pan. I'm just going to put a little bit of flour on top of this, fold it over, and I'm gonna prep the pan. I'm gonna show you how we do that right now. So, we normally get some non-stick cooking spray on the bottom of our pizza pans. These have holes in them, so it really is great in the oven, so it cooks up nice from the bottom as well. And then I like to put some cornmeal on the pan, and this really serves two purposes. Number one, it helps it not to stick, but also it gives a very interesting crunchy texture to the bottom of the crust as well. So I don't have to be overly concerned about how much we put on this, don't want too much, but I think that's good right there. So now, just to be able to put our dough back, put it in the center the way we have it right here, fold it back over like this, fold it back over one more time, and that worked out really well. Still trying to catch my breath from all that dough rolling. Okay, so that's looking pretty good right there. And so all I like to do is trim off the ends of these after, tuck it underneath, we just get a little bit of a crust. We like our pizzas on the thin crust side, so a little bit crispier than chewy. And of course the dough we're using, this 00 dough, pizza dough from Mattalo's. It's an Italian company. We're gonna see how that cooks up tonight. But I must admit, the pizza maker in the household here at the Mattalo household is Dorothy. She makes the most incredible pizzas, and but the chance of getting her on camera tonight was slim and none. So anyway, so we got our pizza trimmed up here, but she's been a great coach off to the sidelines, stepping me through everything that she does in terms of making our homemade pizzas. So credit goes to Dorothy tonight. I'm just a hired labor, so we're all good. Okay, so we've got one of our pizzas done here, which is fantastic. I'm just gonna get the other one prepped, and then we're gonna be ready to put our toppings on. Let's get our traditional pizza with the sopressata started first. So first thing we're gonna do is ladle our tomato sauce just around the pizza here. The one thing I like is making sure our pizza sauce is covered all the way to the end of the crust. Nothing worse than getting a dry end of the pizza. So I like just spoon it with the bottom of the spoon here. Might need to add a little more. We don't want to be too saucy, but at the end of the day, we want to have a nice flavor of the tomato sauce underneath here. So I'm going to add just a little bit more here. Spoon it around. Spread it out nice with the ladle. Yummy, I already taste this pizza. Okay, so the sauce is all done right to the outer edge here. Next I'm going to put our salami on. So we're going to get our thinly sliced homemade salami. We're going to deal this like a deck of cards around the pizza. Get this all around the outside edge. Make sure we put enough so everybody gets their fair share of homemade salami in the pizza. Okay, excellent. So we got our salami laid out on the pizza now. It doesn't really matter what order we really go in here. I'm going to put some mushrooms around the pizza as well. Drop them on the sides. Make sure we got a good helping here as well. Try to spread them out a little bit so we don't want everything just kind of concentrated in one place. Even at some finer restaurant pizza places, we've ordered pizza, everything kind of comes clumped together, and it's never a good thing. So just trying to make sure we get good kind of separation of social distancing of our mushrooms, as I guess we call it in today's terms. Okay, so mushrooms are all set. Next I'm going to add on our black olives. So literally just spoon a handful of these around pizza as well. That's looking pretty good. Then next I'm going to put on our red peppers. So just grab these. They've been oven roasted, as I mentioned earlier, just with a little bit of olive oil. So spread these around the pizza. Make sure they're spaced out as well very nicely. Don't want anybody to get shortchanged in terms of their flavors. Wow, this topping is really coming together nice. Okay, the peppers are all on. Okay, now what I like to do as well, just gonna step away for 1 second here, I need a cloth. I want to put just a couple spices on here, and the spices I'm going to put on here, I like a little bit of dried oregano on the pizza as well. We're going to put this on both the pizzas. It just adds a really nice kind of flavor to the pizza. So I don't want to overpower it, just put a little sprinkle here of oregano, and similarly with some black pepper. So I'm going to just get some black pepper here, just kind of sprinkle it around the pizza a little bit before we go to the last kind of important ingredient on this pizza, which is our cheese. So I'm going to kind of grab a nice handful of cheese here. We don't want to get cheap on the cheese. I'm going to make sure that we spread that out around the pizza. Oh, looking fantastic. I can't wait till this puppy gets all baked up nice, and I might put it under the broiler a little bit at the end just to make sure that we get a nice crisp on the top of the cheese and it comes out all ooey gooey. So, okay, I think we're good. So our first pizza, our traditional Italian pizza, is done and ready to go to the oven. We're ready to prepare our second pizza now, which is going to be a vegetarian pizza. So I'm going to start with some better quality extra virgin olive oil that we're going to just brush around the base of the pizza here. We don't want to put too much on, just want to dab it around here nice. It'll spread out as the pizza cooks as well. So just adds a good like dimension to a pizza like this. So we'll go around the pizza a little bit with a silicone brush. I feel like I'm painting a painting, which I'm not really. I'm painting a pizza is what I'm doing, but anyways, who's checking in on it? Okay, so olive oil, a really good base of olive oil around here. This will help the pizza crisp up as well on the top. So that's all done. So olive oil, I'll set that aside right now. And the first ingredient I'm going to layer on is some fresh tomatoes. So as you know, these are the vine tomatoes that we sliced up earlier. So we're going to just put a couple of these around here. Awesome, looking good. Okay, so we got our tomatoes on here as well. Next we're going to add some more mushrooms. So actually first I'm going to add the onion. So we're going to put some raw onion on top of this as well. So I'm going to spread this around. Very nicely thinly sliced onion. Looking good. Then I'm going to add in some mushrooms. I don't know, is mushroom a vegetable? I don't know, it's a vegetarian pizza. Well, it's not a meat, so I guess we can classify it as part of a vegetarian pizza. Or vegetable pizza. Okay, so we've got our mushrooms on here. I'm going to add some more black olives on this one as well. Very plain pizza, right? Nothing overly complicated about this. Vegetarian's got some good flavors. The onion and the tomato go together nicely. The olives add a little bit of saltiness to it. Now, similar, I'm going to add some chopped garlic on here. Actually, we roasted up some garlic, something we didn't mention at the beginning, but just a little bit of garlic, just a couple pieces, so everybody gets a bit of a taste throughout the pizza. We don't want to add too much because it'll actually really overcome the pizza. But we're good just like this. Okay, now just gonna step away 1 second here. My cloth keeps getting away from me. Okay, and I'm gonna add a little bit of salt on here. I just think that in the other pizza with the cheese and the supersada and the sauce, that it had a little bit of seasoning to it, but I think this pizza is going to lack a little bit, even with the olives there. There's really nothing more to season, so I'm going to do that. Of course, a little bit of black pepper as well. Let's throw some of that on there as well. Okay, we're looking good. And then the last bit is, again, I'm going to add some oregano. I think the oregano just really complements. It goes very nicely with the tomatoes and the onion. You can almost picture a pizza salad here with a tomato and onion pizza, or a tomato and onion salad, but in pizza form here. Okay, so I think this pizza is all set to go, and we're ready to put them both in the oven and see what the outcome is. And at the end of this, we're going to finish this one with our arugula. So we're going to put some arugula on top of this pizza, and on the first pizza we had, we're going to put some fresh basil just to freshen up a little bit. Okay, so prep of the pizzas is finished. So our wine pairing for tonight, to be honest, any Italian wine will do when you're serving pizza. It's quintessential Italian meal, so any good red wine will do. We prefer red, actually. So what I picked tonight is a 2013 Barolo by Bergara, and Barolo hails from the Piedmont region of Italy. It is a 100% Nebbiolo grape. Now the tasting notes on this particular wine are kind of a pretty intense, fruit forward on the palate on the beginning of the taste, and then as it gets back to the back of your mouth, it actually lightens up very nicely. So I'm not going to get too fussy. We can't like pair wines every day exactly with what we need, but we thought a good Italian wine, a Barolo, is a good choice to have. We think this wine's going to be delicious. We're looking forward to enjoying it. So our pizzas are already in the oven. So we did our first pizza. We just put it in briefly to warm at the end. We have the second pizza inside as well. So first pizza I'm taking out is our vegetarian pizza. Looks absolutely amazing. This one has all kinds of vegetables on it with some olive oil as the base. No tomato sauce on that one. And this one we're taking out is the first pizza we actually put in, which is our traditional pizza, our traditional with salami and red peppers and olives and smothered in mozzarella cheese. So the only thing we're going to do to finish this off is going to add a little bit of fresh basil. So we slice this basil up. We're going to put this on the pizza with the salami. Just add a little bit of freshness to the pizza because we've got a lot of cheese on here. We got some spicy salami on here as well. So we're going to do that. And then on the vegetarian pizza, we're going to do two things actually. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add just a little more liquid here. So I'm going to add a little bit of balsamic glaze. So I'm just going to drizzle the pizza in balsamic glaze. I think that'll complement the vegetables on here very nicely. So balsamic glaze goes on top, and we're just going to put some arugula around this pizza again for some freshness. Add a little bit of texture, a little bit of crunch, a little bit of freshness to this. The arugula tends to be spicy. There's really nothing else spicy on here. So I think that will do very well for this particular pizza. So there we have. It's casual dinner tonight. Dorothy has actually prepared a simple romaine lettuce salad with white vinegar, a good quality olive oil, salt and pepper to accompany the meal. But it doesn't get more complicated than this. It's casual night, it's Friday night, and we're set to enjoy.